What's good? So we're talking about false steps today. I'm Justin Miller, owner of Legends of Athletics. And before we get into the meat of this topic, I want you guys to make sure that you go and like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you like what we're doing over here. If you don't, then we will appreciate you reacting to this video. That helps us move up an algorithm either way so that more people are able to see us. So in the world of sports, I've been in sports performance for the last 10 years. And I remember 10 years ago, trainers and coaches alike used to always talk about coaching the false step out of an athlete. So we used to talk about, making sure that athlete doesn't fall back, or making sure that athlete doesn't like reset their feet, making sure that athlete doesn't drop too much whenever they're exploding out, and trying to get that athlete to push straight forward without having any, what we would call back then, any wasted steps. And so in today's time, in 2024, fast forward 10 years from then, people now are saying that false steps aren't bad and things like that, and that there is no such thing as a false step in all seriousness. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you some clips from athletes that I've had that truly do perform a false step, and then athletes who just basically do a reset with the body. Most of the time, if you play anything like a receiver position, a split out tight end, running backs, even quarterbacks, some lineman positions, if you're on defensive line for sure, you do take those reset steps, and basically what that is, I'm not going to say reset step, but you do readjust whenever you're coming out, and what some people will call a false step. And so basically what happens is the body lowers its center of gravity, and the player resets their shin angles to accelerate and produce fast locomotion, versus like if we were walking and we were upright, the player body naturally resets itself to produce quick locomotion and turnover, so that it's more in a more advantageous position to get out from going 0 to 60 is what we would call it in the car terms, but going 0 to 60 as fast as possible. And so football, for instance, is a game full of accelerations, and so players produce and reproduce this motion throughout the entirety of a game. And so it's very important to know what your body is doing, why it's doing it, and then correctly positioning yourself to do it, quote unquote. Whenever I see a player's body lower itself into the acceleration position, what I'm looking at to do this properly, what I'm looking at is the hips to drop, the knee to go further over the toe, and for that back leg to push through in order to push and propel that player forward, or that athlete forward. Now, what I would deem as a false step is something where the athletes, if we're going to go by one metric, the athlete's pelvis or hips are not traveling through space. And so when that player drops, instead of being here and pushing through, the player just kind of goes here, switches feet, and nothing, the position doesn't change. And so, like I said, I'm going to give you guys some clips of some athletes I've had that nothing in their positioning changed. They just kind of switch feet, and that will be what I would deem a true false step. Everything else is just repositioning. And so those are reasons for that. Also, lastly, I had to look at my notes. Also, lastly, whenever in sports such as football, basketball, baseball, etc., soccer, things like that, field sports, it's unlike track, you don't have blocks. So the reason that sprinters and people like that do not take false steps is because they're pushing from blocks. Our feet and ankles, this is where foot and ankle strength comes in, have to be strong in order to push us and propel us through space. So your body naturally has to position itself in order to do that. Now, this is where you can get some collapsing or some energy leaks, so to speak. Some collapsing whenever the athlete's feet and ankles aren't strong. So instead of that foot being rigid, it may collapse completely and fall and then press against the ground to go through space. But preferably, we would like to keep the feet and ankles strong so that we got some rigidity to push and push back into the ground and pull against that ground and put ourselves forward. And so that's why that happens too as well. I had to look at my notes because I forgot that. That's why it happens as well whenever we're quote unquote taking that false step. And so let's get into some video clips and let's go over it, and I want you guys to see visually what I see, and then we'll go from there. Now, this is a compilation of videos that I just want you guys to see, and it's the videos I showed you whenever this video first started. And so, look at the player's positioning. This is just from the other day. This is one of my quarterbacks. We're doing some parachute pulls, And so this just get a little resistance going. But whenever he starts, look at where the hips go. The hips drop, the knee goes more forward over the toe, and we start pressing on that front foot, pushing and pushing and pulling through that back leg as well in order to create that motion, that locomotion to get the foot and ankles through and create that. This next one, as a kid right now, playing high level football, Power 5 school, and he is doing the same thing. Even a bigger guy. So you can see right here, they're probably about 100-pound difference from athlete to athlete. As you can see, whenever we start this, we start off in a good position. This position, most athletes are going to start. This is probably within our first month, so I probably would tell him to pull his, or we probably would tell this athlete to pull his front foot back just a little bit more to get that knee a little further over the toe. But this also comes with comfort level. So the longer that an athlete does this and perfects that craft, the better they become. Again, dropping into that position and see how everything automatically goes forward. Your brain and body is gonna make sure that it's positioned in order to push everything forward. And as you can see from here, the first thing that changes is where the hips are. The center of gravity has to drop in order to get a good acceleration piece. I'm not just telling you this for satire. I'm not just telling you this because it sounds great, but I'm telling you this as a coaching point. If he moves here with his hips high, I can almost guarantee, this is the old way we coach it. You can almost guarantee that that first step is going to be very, very short. And so instead of eating up a yard to a yard and a half, we're probably looking at about a half a yard, or unless that leg that's in the front is so strong that it can throw him there, and as quickly, it's not going to happen. And so again, that drops, knee goes further over the toe. This creates a more advantageous positioning. And as you can see, we're pulling into the ground. I'm going to rewind this for a second. But look how rigid the ankles and feet. The first thing, the second thing, not the first thing. The first thing you notice is the hip drop. The second thing is look, and I'm glad we got a muscular athlete right here. Look at how the calves, the ankles and feet, everything turns on right here. We're going to stop right there. And this was in early spring or late. It was late. It was a late winter, early spring. And so this grass that we're on, I feel like, I'm not going to say, I think it's ryegrass, but I'm not sure what kind of grass it is. But that grass had some moisture to it. So you have to be even stronger to be able to pull and go through that. And this was a morning session, so it was still some dew on the ground as well. And so look at how strong this athlete's feet become and how everything turns on and pushes against that ground. This is again where I say, like, if we don't have blocks in field sports, so athletes' feet and ankles have to be pretty strong, and that's just a replay of what we just saw. Gonna do it again. All right, so this is the start of the summer. This was like our first or second session starting the summer. Now, we're a little wide whenever we start this, so we're a little wide, so I would ask this athlete again to cut down on their split. But again, the same thing happens, and he's already fairly low in his hip stance, and his chest is a little bit low, but his body still wants to drop he drops his glutes to be appropriate for YouTube. He drops his glutes, drops his butt, and pushes through and gets a really good first step. And look at how strong, again, those ankle and feet have to be in order to get this in order to get this athlete to pull through and push through. And then again, more of the same here, more of the same. This is one of my younger guys, so he's in middle school. Hips and things like that don't drop a whole lot, but we still get a great first step. And that's just things that we have to prepare. Again, as the athlete is younger, you build the skill, and so we're just starting at the basics and then continue to build from there. But the same rigid foot and ankle action, a lot coming through the soleus, since that's a popular muscle today, the calf muscles, and a good strong Achilles tendon as well to be able to handle all that force, take on that energy and then reproduce it. So that's that. All right, so we're back. My bad. I had to find this video. It took me a while. It took me a lot longer to find it than I would like. So look at this athlete, and I want you to see one. So look at where their starting position is. The back ankle is rolled inward, which is causing an external rotation on the ankle, and then we don't have enough weight on our front foot, as well as our chest is a little higher than we would like. This athlete, this was day one, and so these are just things. This is a very young guy. He may look older than what you think, but very, very young athlete. Guys in middle school right now. But look at where the hips are whenever they take the first step. We made no progress. We just basically did a switch of the feet, and we didn't make any progress in our first step from where we started. Look at where that may be a quarter of a yard. Of course, this kid doesn't have cleats on, but that may have been a quarter of the yard from where we were. And then, of course, we made good progress after that. But that's what you would truly call a false step, a very false step. All right, so those were examples of false steps. I tried to show as many videos as I had at my leisure at disposal at that time for this video. But those are examples of false steps. I hope those videos help to illustrate what we're looking at from a coach's perspective, and also what you should be thinking of from an athlete's perspective, as far as like what you would deem as wasted movements, wasted patterns versus patterns or good steps or good first steps, false steps, things like that. And so the difference, like I said, again, if you just want to be quick and very succinct about it, a false step is just lowering the center of gravity, pushing through in order to progress and make the most of every step and make the most of every motion efficiently. A false step is just not making the most of that, to maybe taking a false step, maybe doing a switch, and the hips not progressing through space as fast as we would like or hope for. So if you like the content, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, always, always share with somebody and be legendary.